6:45 a.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news, edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Mario Vijayavardhana. The headlines. The government is to present a non-traditional digital economy-focused budget today. The President is to introduce budget proposals for implementing the Digicon economic concept. A family of 4 reported missing after a landslide in Balangoda. The State Minister of Finance assures the budget proposals are not targeting elections. The Sri Lanka cricket team apologizes over their poor World Cup performance. The Justice Minister says the UGC should be replaced with a new Higher Education Commission. In news overseas, Israel intensifies offensive around hospitals. In sports news, former skipper Mahela says Sri Lanka lost due to players' poor display. The appropriation bill budget for the fiscal year 2024 will be presented to Parliament by the President and the Minister of Finance Ranil Wickremesinghe today. Many economists predict that this year's budget would be a non-traditional one, giving more emphasis to take the country towards a greener and digital economy. It will look at supporting the private sector to invest more on green power generation, export-oriented agriculture, value-added exports and investments in the financial sector, ICT and tourism. Assisting the youth empowerment and creating a future job-oriented workforce with digital literacy too would be priorities. The chambers, including leading construction chambers too, have forwarded many proposals towards kick-starting the economy and looking at solutions to some of their major concerns. Many have also proposed the creation of a special bank to lend to the SME sectors and women entrepreneurs at low interest rates. One of the key factors the chambers require from the government are stable economic policies that do not change. The National Chamber of Exports has forwarded 4 key proposals and are seeking solutions for VAT and other key issues, the Secretary-General or the Chief Executive Officer of the National Chamber of Exporters, Shiha Marika, said. The tourism sector too is looking at reducing their huge tax, which is in the excess of 30%, which includes 15% VAT and a 10% service charge plus provincial councils, say stalwart in the industry Anura Lokuhetty highlighted. The State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya said that the Sri Lankan economy, which was at its lowest with no reserves to purchase medicine, fuel, gas and other essentials, has now come out of it as the economy has gradually stabilized due to the prudent financial management of the government and IMF assistance. Quote, the budget 2024 is looking at further improving on this, and we have a huge responsibility to establish a stable rate of growth, unquote, he said last week. The debate on the second reading of the budget will be held from today to the 21st of this month. The voting on the second reading will be held at 6 p.m. on the 21st of this month. The committee stage debate will be held from the 22nd to the 13th of December. The voting on the final reading will be held at 6 p.m. on the 13th of December. The committee stage debate will be held from 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day from the 22nd of November to the 13th of December. Meanwhile, President Ranil Wickremesinghe is slated to present the 2024 budget to Parliament today in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, and accordingly, the President engaged in a discussion pertaining to the preparation and delivery of the final stage of the budget at his official residence yesterday, the PMD reported. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank Excelsior. Live the life you want.
As the budget proposals will be presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe today, the SLBC has made arrangements to broadcast live proceedings from 12 noon onwards. The budget speech will be broadcast live through the Sinhala, Tamil and English services of the SLBC. The 12:45 Sinhala news will be broadcast from the City FM, and the Tamil and English news will be broadcast after the budget speech through the respective channels. The Information and Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka has announced that President Ranil Wickremesinghe will present proposals to implement the DigiCon economic concept, the President's Media Division reports. This initiative aims to achieve a revenue of $15 billion through digital economies by 2030, according to Sachindra Samararatne, the Deputy Chief of the Digital Economic Officer of the Information and Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka, ICTA. In a noteworthy development, the Prime Minister has instructed the Ministry of Technology to spearhead the establishment of the digital economy through extensive public and private partnerships, marking a significant first for Sri Lanka. Samararatne highlighted that the Minister of State for Technology, Kanaka Herath, has successfully engaged in discussions with various stakeholders, and the resulting plan has been submitted to President Ranil Wickremesinghe, the President's Media Division said in a statement. These details were shared by Sachindra Samararatne during his participation in the 101 Katha program produced by the President's Media Division. At least 4 persons from the same family have been reported missing after a landslide buried a house in the Gavaranahena area in Balangoda yesterday. The police say that investigations are being carried out to confirm if they are trapped or whether they have already evacuated. Accordingly, it is reported that a father, mother and their 2 daughters are missing, as their whereabouts are yet to be confirmed. The landslide has reportedly left 2 houses damaged, while measures have been taken to evacuate the people living in the area to safer locations. The Sri Lanka cricket team apologised to the cricket-loving public of the country following the team's disappointing showing at the ongoing 2023 ICC Cricket World Cup held in India. Sri Lanka captain Kusal Mendis issued the apology on behalf of the squad during a press conference held at Sri Lanka's cricket head office yesterday. Furthermore, Captain Kusal Mendis asserted that the Sri Lanka team was not under any threats or external pressures to underperform during the 2023 World Cup tournament. Meanwhile, in response to a question raised by a journalist about whether any pressure of holding the captaincy affected his poor performance, Mendis expressed that although the unexpected captaincy may have had a minor impact on his performance, it is not at all the reason, since he was experienced captaining prior. Quote, "We were looking at how we could get selected to the Final 4. I was with that pressure. Captaincy is not a big pressure for me," unquote, he said. Mendis appealed on Sunday to the governing board of the International Cricket Council to lift its suspension of the country over alleged political interference in the local board. The State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya says that a budget that will help Sri Lanka rise and prosper in the long term by finding solutions to the issues faced by the people in the short term amid multiple challenges will be presented to Parliament today. Speaking to the media regarding the matter at the Finance Ministry premises, the State Minister emphasised that this year's budget has not been prepared for the sake of short-term popularity or targeting the elections. Furthermore, Siambalapitiya asserted that a permanent program that will prevent the collapse of the economy once again will be presented today. The 2024 budget, which will be presented to Parliament, is already being prepared and will be printed, according to the State Minister. He said that this year's budget has been prepared by facing the challenge of finding solutions for the entire population who are under pressure, the challenge of making the country ride up again in the long term, as well as the challenge of finding expenses for that purpose. However, more attention has been paid to the poor people who need relief while preparing the budget, he said further. Meanwhile, the lawmaker expressed that foreign debt restructuring has also reached an optimistic point and urges the people to rise together as a nation without resorting to plaster methods.
People's Bank Excelsior, a comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you. People's Bank Excelsior, for professionals who dare to dream.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Veda Mahatmya.
The Minister of Justice, Prison Affairs and Constitutional Reforms, Minister Dr. Vijay Dasa Rajapaksa emphasized the importance of making a vast change in the education sector of this country. The minister revealed that a new Higher Education Commission is to be introduced to replace the University Grants Commission, UGC, which he believes will make a massive change in the education sector of Sri Lanka. Addressing a gathering in Colombo recently, he went on to emphasize the need for an independent institute for accreditation, which will aid in ensuring that quality education is provided for students through the private sector.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Veda Mahatmya.
And now in Watchlight, the number of dengue cases in several areas of the Western Province and in the Kandy district of the Central Province has increased. The National Dengue Control Unit says most of the breeding grounds for mosquitoes have been identified around schools and religious places in many areas. The Director of the National Dengue Control Unit, Dr. Nalinarya Ratna, said 70,500 dengue cases have been reported in Sri Lanka so far this year. That came to you in Watchlight. In World News headlines: Israel intensifies offensive around hospitals. Japan, the US and South Korea to speed up data sharing on North Korean missiles. Indo-Pacific Economic Framework ministers gather in San Francisco for talks. The Israeli military has issued evacuation warnings to 3 hospitals in the city of Gaza. The move raises the possibility that a full-scale attack on the hospitals could take place soon. The WHO said on Sunday it had lost contact with the staff in Al-Shifa Hospital, the enclave's largest medical facility. It said it had heard the hospital was surrounded by tanks. Mohammed Abid, a surgeon at Al-Shifa Hospital, says, "We have 2 neonate patients who died because the incubator is not working, because there is no electricity. We have an adult patient in the ICU. He died because the ventilator shut down. No one hears us." The defense chiefs of Japan, the United States and South Korea have agreed to speed up the sharing of real-time data on North Korean missile launches. Japan's Defense Minister Kihara Minoru joined via video link a meeting between the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and the South Korean Defense Minister Shin Won-sik in Seoul on Sunday. The defense chiefs condemned North Korea's repeated ballistic missile launches. They stressed that even if the objective is to launch a satellite, using ballistic missile technology violates the relevant UN Security Council resolutions. Ministers from 14 nations, including Japan and the United States, are gathering in San Francisco for their latest round of talks on a US-led economic partnership for the Indo-Pacific. The member nations of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, or IPEF, have been negotiating in 4 areas. These include strengthening supply chains for semiconductors and other critical goods, expanding investment in decarbonization efforts, and facilitating digital trade. And now the main points of the World News segment once again. Israel intensifies offensive around hospitals. Japan, the US and South Korea to speed up data sharing on North Korean missiles. Indo-Pacific Economic Framework ministers gather in San Francisco for talks.
Development News.
Galadari Hotels Lanka PLC successfully signed an agreement with the Port of Investment of Sri Lanka as the first step towards the property's refurbishment process. Galadari Colombo has over the years built up an enviable reputation in the hospitality industry and proudly boasts of over 39 years of exceptional service. The property will go through a total transformation which will enable the hotel to set new standards, solidifying its high competitiveness in the industry. This is the first of a series of events that will take place as the hotel starts its new journey, which will ultimately lead to an engagement with Radisson Hotels Asia Pacific Investments Private Limited to manage Galadari Hotel Colombo under a new brand name.
Moving on with sports news.
Former skipper Mahela Jayawardene, who is in charge of the coaching department of the national cricket team, said that he is disappointed the way Sri Lanka finished at this World Cup and personally, quote, "I thought we could have finished this World Cup in 6th or 7th position among the 10 teams," unquote. He made these comments at the press conference yesterday at the SLC. Cricket team members, the manager and the head coach Chris Silverwood were present at this occasion. Quote, "We lost due to our players' poor performance. Not only New Zealand, and in that match there were few other matches we were short by 30 to 40 runs. Even the Australia match we were in a good position but we couldn't finish our innings well like the Afghanistan match. Our skills and standards have to improve. Players knew their part but they did mistakes. This was our best team to play the World Cup. When the first round of the World Cup, everyone can gauge players' standards," unquote.
Go එකක් තියෙන youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru account, NSB I am, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The nation's trust bank continued its solid financial performance into the third quarter of 2023 with a profit before tax PBT of 19.4 billion LKR and a profit after tax PAT of 9.4 billion LKR, a YOY increase of 78% for the 9 months ending on the 30th of September. The bank recorded a 24% YOY growth in operating income for the 9 months, supported by higher net interest income and fees as well as substantially lower impairment charges.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go එකක් තියෙන youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru account, NSB I am, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news, former International Monetary Fund IMF official Shamini Kure noted that in just 20 months, the country moved from an uncontrollable inflation and a collapsing economy to achieving less than a 2% inflation, surpassing IMF projections. The orderly foreign currency debt moratorium and strategic interest rate adjustments were pivotal in averting a disorderly default. The success is attributed to a cohesive approach with fiscal policy supporting monetary decisions. Despite political challenges, the government raised tax rates, improved collections and implemented cost recovery pricing in energy, ensuring a sustainable fiscal position.
Weather report.
The Met Department says the low-level atmospheric disturbance over the island still persists. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times over most parts of the island. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa central, southern, northern, northwestern, north central and eastern provinces. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during the thunder showers. This weather report was issued at 4:30 a.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. That was with the report, and now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. The government is to present a non-traditional digital economy-focused budget today. The President is to introduce budget proposals for implementing the Digicon economic concept. A family of 4 reported missing after a landslide in Balangoda. The State Minister of Finance assures that the budget proposals are not targeting elections. The Sri Lanka cricket team apologizes over their poor World Cup performance. The Justice Minister says the UGC should be replaced with a new Higher Education Commission. In news overseas, Israel intensifies offensive around hospitals. In sports news, former skipper Mahela says Sri Lanka lost due to players' poor display. That concludes this news broadcast, and now it's over to your regular host as always on a Monday morning, back this Monday. Over to you, Sharifa Tahir, to keep our listeners in great company this rainy Monday morning.